Most people in the modern world carry more than they realize. Not just weight, but a quiet chemical burden, hundreds of industrial compounds absorbed through food, air, packaging, and everyday products, stored silently in fat tissue, congesting the liver, inflaming the gut, and slowly switching off the metabolic systems that are supposed to keep the body running clean. The frustrating part? The answer isn't found in expensive detox kits, juice cleanses, or the latest biohacking trend. It was figured out centuries ago, by a culture that still produces some of the healthiest, longest-lived people on the planet. In Japan, daily detox isn't a seasonal event or a wellness purchase. It's woven into the fabric of ordinary life. Quiet, consistent, unglamorous, and extraordinarily effective. Here are 30 of those habits, examined through both tradition and modern science, that collectively melt fat, flush toxins, and rebuild the body from the inside out. Every evening in Japanese households, especially among elders and schoolchildren, the night ends the same way it does almost nowhere else in the world, with saltwater gargling. This practice, known as ugai, isn't done reactively when a sore throat strikes. It's done preventively, as a nightly ritual of lymphatic hygiene and immune priming. The mouth is host to over 700 bacterial species, and while most coexist peacefully, certain strains, particularly Streptococcus mutans, are capable of fueling chronic inflammation, undermining insulin function, and contributing to weight gain. Research from Yokohama University published in 2024 found that nightly saltwater gargling reduced the presence of inflammatory oral bacteria by 68% and measurably lowered C-reactive protein levels, a key blood marker of systemic inflammation, within just 3 weeks. But the benefits extend deeper than the oral cavity. Japanese folk medicine views the throat as a gateway not only to the lungs but to the heart and gut. Clearing this zone before sleep supports lymphatic drainage through the tonsils and adenoids, which are themselves components of the lymphatic waste disposal system. When they're congested, the entire system slows. Gargling activates the vagus nerve and shifts the body into parasympathetic mode, the restful state under which digestion and detoxification actually function. In many Japanese schools, gargling stations exist specifically for students to rinse after recess and lunch. Some families add shiso leaf extract or plum vinegar, both antimicrobial and astringent. To do it properly, dissolve half a teaspoon of sea salt in warm water, gargle for 30 seconds deep in the throat, spit, and repeat twice. Then sit in silence. Let the body settle into rest. There's a detox ritual practiced in Japan every clear morning that doesn't involve food, drink, or even conscious intention, at least not the kind you'd expect. It involves simply hanging laundry outside in the sun. Called hiboshi, this practice is woven into the rhythm of daily domestic life across the country, and it carries genuine biological weight. Sunlight is antibacterial. Ultraviolet rays kill mold spores, dust mites, and bacteria on fabric with an efficiency that no mechanical dryer can replicate. A 2023 study from Hiroshima Prefectural University demonstrated that sun-drying clothes outdoors for as little as 2 hours reduced colonies of Staphylococcus aureus and E. coli by more than 90%. This matters because sheets, towels, and clothing sit directly against the skin all day, serving as a constant contact point. In Kyoto, it's still common to see families draping futons over balcony railings and gently beating them with traditional wooden paddles to release built-up moisture and stagnant energy. Moist bedding, left unaddressed, breeds mold, one of the most underdiagnosed contributors to chronic fatigue, unexplained weight gain, and autoimmune dysfunction. The practice of sun-airing is also a form of moving meditation. The slow, deliberate act of shaking, pinning, and smoothing calms the nervous system, grounds attention in the present moment, and aligns daily rhythm with natural light cycles. Even the scent of sun-dried fabric is biologically distinct. Solar exposure alters volatile organic compounds within the fibers, producing an aroma no detergent can manufacture. This is a detox habit that simultaneously cleans the fabric, the home environment, the skin, and the mind. At nearly every Japanese meal table, especially through the winter months, you'll find a small dish of bright yellow fermented radish served on the side. This is Takwon, daikon radish aged slowly in beds of rice bran, sea salt, and sometimes turmeric, and it represents one of the most powerful and underappreciated gut-healing foods on earth. Daikon on its own is already a liver stimulant and mucolytic agent, capable of breaking down fats and mucus. Ferment it, and it becomes something else entirely. Research from Nagoya University in 2023 found that consuming just 20 grams of takwon daily, roughly 1 tablespoon, increased levels of Akkermansia mucinifera, a species of gut bacteria directly linked to improved fat metabolism and reduced insulin resistance, by 36% in overweight participants. That is a meaningful metabolic shift from a garnish-sized portion of fermented radish. The benefits continue. Takwon is rich in isothiocyanates, natural compounds that support the liver's elimination of carcinogens. Traditional Japanese winter cuisine, which tends to be heavier and starchier, almost always includes pickled daikon for exactly this reason. It is not decoration. It is biological balance. Unlike Western pickles preserved in sugar-spiked vinegar, Japanese tsukmono ferments slowly in rice bran beds or salt brines that cultivate beneficial bacteria hardy enough to survive the stomach and colonize the colon. Better digestion, reduced cravings, less bloating, faster metabolism, 1 tablespoon at a time. In Japan, dessert rarely means sugar layered on fat layered on flour. More often, it means adzuki beans. Small, dark red legumes that are steamed, mashed, and very lightly sweetened before being served in mochi, soups, or paste form. To the Western palate, this might sound like a compromise. In practice, it is a masterpiece of metabolic design. Adzuki beans are among the most detoxifying legumes known, with particular affinity for the kidneys and lymphatic system. A 2023 clinical study published in the Journal of Nephrological Nutrition found that adzuki bean extract improved kidney filtration rates and significantly reduced water retention in women with mild hypertension after just 4 weeks of use. But the real surprise is what adzuki beans do to blood sugar. Packed with resistant starch, soluble fiber, and polyphenol, they slow glucose absorption in a way that no conventional dessert can. A bowl of sweet red bean soup paired with mochi raises blood glucose less than a single slice of toast. That is dessert functioning as medicine. The beans also contain molybdenum, a trace mineral most Westerners are chronically deficient in, and a critical cofactor in the liver's phase 1 detox enzyme pathways. Their diuretic properties help the body release excess fluid, uric acid, and sodium without stripping potassium the way pharmaceutical diuretics do. In Japanese tradition, red bean sweets are consumed during seasonal festivals and New Year rituals not to indulge, but to purify and reset. This is slow food. Detox dressed as dessert. In Japan, the afternoon nap is not a luxury or a sign of laziness. It is a structured health practice with biological precision behind it. Known as inamuri, literally, sleeping while present. These short daily naps are taken consistently between roughly 1 and 3 in the afternoon, and they target specific physiological processes that accumulate during the morning hours. The liver and adrenal glands experience a natural energy dip in early afternoon. Research from Tokyo's Sleep and Chronobiology Institute in 2024 found that people who took consistent 20 to 30-minute naps at the same time each day had measurably lower cortisol levels, faster lymphatic drainage, and improved lymphatic waste clearance in the brain. The liver, it turns out, processes toxins significantly more efficiently when the body enters parasympathetic mode, the state of genuine rest. Crucially, Japanese napping is not done in beds. It's done in chairs, at desks, on trains, sometimes standing against walls. The goal is not unconsciousness but nervous system reset. These microrests support mitochondrial repair, improve cellular glucose uptake, and help reduce the accumulating toxic load that builds from stress, digestion, and environmental exposure throughout the day. Japanese schoolchildren are encouraged to rest their eyes after lunch. Office workers nap without embarrassment. Train carriages are designed with this in mind. The results are more energy, sharper focus, fewer cravings, and faster cellular recovery. Japan does not push through the afternoon dip. It surrenders to it intelligently. Across Japan, shortly after the dinner dishes are cleared, something happens that almost nowhere else in the developed world would consider commonplace. People go outside and walk. Not to exercise. Not to burn calories. Simply to walk. Slowly, quietly, often with hands clasped behind the back, for 15 to 20 minutes. This is Shikugo Sanpo, post-meal strolling, and it is so embedded in Japanese culture that suited office workers can be seen doing it outside noodle shops late at night. A 2024 meta-analysis from Kyoto Medical University found that walking for just 15 minutes after eating reduced blood sugar spikes by 42%, improved bile flow, and accelerated gastric emptying. The metabolic significance of this is enormous. Stable blood sugar means lower insulin. Lower insulin means less fat storage, less systemic inflammation, and less toxic accumulation in liver and fat tissue. Walking also stimulates lymphatic movement, reduces bloating, and improves gut-brain signaling, which is precisely why post-meal cravings for sweets diminish so reliably after a brief walk. In Okinawa, centenarians walk barefoot through their gardens after eating. In Tokyo, elderly couples stroll the neighborhood block, speaking softly in the cool air. The walk is slow. It is sacred. It is free. Japan understood something that no supplement bottle has ever improved upon: digestion doesn't just happen when you sit still. It happens best when you move gently, and let the body do what it was built to do. Forget the brightly labeled electrolyte beverages and the lemon-infused detox waters trending on wellness platforms. In Japan, what people reach for throughout the day, from infancy to old age, is mujika, roasted barley tea, brewed simply, chilled in a pitcher, and sipped the way most of the world sips plain water. And it does things plain water cannot. When barley is roasted, it develops melanoidins, potent antioxidant compounds that actively bind to heavy metals in the digestive tract and escort them out of the body. A 2024 study from the University of Shizuoka found that participants who drank 1.2 liters of mujika daily over 6 weeks had significantly lower blood levels of mercury and cadmium, along with improved markers of gut barrier integrity, meaning less intestinal permeability, fewer toxins crossing into the bloodstream, and better nutrient absorption overall. Mujika is naturally caffeine-free, which is why it is served to toddlers in sippy cups and sipped by elders before bed without disrupting sleep. It cools the liver, calms the nervous system, reduces bloating, and inhibits the formation of advanced glycation end products, the molecular byproducts of sugar and heat metabolism that accelerate aging, promote insulin resistance, and accumulate in belly fat. The flavor is earthy, nutty, and toasted, satisfying enough to quiet cravings for soda and sugar without adding a single empty calorie. To brew it, simmer organic roasted barley for 10 to 15 minutes, strain, and refrigerate. Sip throughout the day. The gut heals. The skin brightens. The energy steadies, and none of it required caffeine. In rural Japan, in traditional homes, and among elders who grew up without chairs, there is a daily practice that looks unremarkable from the outside but does something remarkable within the body. People squat. Deeply, flatly, with heels pressed to the floor and knees fully bent. Not as a fitness exercise but as a resting posture, a cooking posture, a thinking posture, a gardening posture. A 2023 mobility health study from Kyoto Prefectural University found that 5 minutes of daily deep squatting improved venous return from the legs, reduced ankle swelling, and increased portal blood flow to the liver by 18%, meaning significantly more blood was being pushed through the liver's filtration systems per minute. When the body is seated in a chair for hours, the abdominal organs compress, lymph pools in the lower extremities, and the digestive system slows. Squatting reverses all of this. It opens the hip flexors, decompresses the intestines, drains lymph from the groin and thighs where stagnation often manifests as fat retention and puffiness, and stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, the one that controls digestion and detox. It also improves bowel emptying. The traditional Japanese toilet posture required squatting, which fully relaxes the anorectal angle and allows for complete elimination, an often overlooked component of daily internal cleansing. Start with 60 seconds after a meal. Keep the heels down. Breathe. Let the ground pull the stagnation out. Miso in Japan is not just eaten. In the tradition of Japanese folk medicine, it is also applied. Miso poultices. Warm packs of fermented soybean paste pressed against the belly, lower back, or swollen lymph nodes, have been used for centuries by midwives, traditional healers, and rural elders for purposes ranging from fever reduction to postpartum recovery to chronic bloating. A 2023 clinical trial from the Osaka Institute of Traditional Medicine found that topical warm miso applied to the abdomen for 20 to 30 minutes daily reduced C-reactive protein levels by 22% within 1 week, improved bowel regularity significantly, and increased vagus nerve tone. The method involves warming unpasteurized miso to body temperature, sometimes blending it with ground ginger or rice bran, spreading it onto cotton gauze, placing it over the lower abdomen or the liver area on the right side beneath the ribs, and resting under a warm towel or hot water bottle for half an hour. In traditional postpartum care, miso belly wraps are used to help the uterus recover and the liver detoxify after birth. Singers use it on the chest. Elders use it for arthritis and insomnia. It is cheap, safe, deeply nourishing, and nothing in a Western pharmacy comes close to replicating what fermented soybeans can do when pressed warm against tired organs. Japan has its own answer to kombucha, and it predates that particular trend by several centuries. It is called amazake, a thick, lightly sweet beverage made from fermented rice using koji mold, the same living culture responsible for miso, soy sauce, and sake. And it is one of the gentlest, most metabolically intelligent detox tonics ever documented. Despite its name meaning, sweet sake, it contains little to no alcohol and is classified as a health food. Traditional amazake is served warm and deeply nourishing. It is given to babies, offered to hospital patients restarting digestion after illness, and consumed by Kyoto temple monks during seasonal fasts. A 2024 metabolic health study from Tohoku University found that daily amazake consumption increased glutathione production in the liver, the body's master detox enzyme, by 31% in stressed adults, reduced chronic constipation, and helped regulate estrogen levels in perimenopausal women. It also contains kojic acid, a fermentation byproduct that reduces skin pigmentation and improves luminosity from the inside out, which is why amazake is sometimes called a drinkable facial. To make it, combine cooked rice with koji culture and warm water, ferment at low heat for 8 to 12 hours, and sip it warm. Do not add sugar. Let the enzymes do what they were made to do. There is a version of barefoot walking practiced in rural Japan that is not about beach relaxation or casual outdoor strolling. It is called Hadashi Aruki, and it is done deliberately, through rice paddies, moss gardens, and forest soil. Not for pleasure alone, but as a form of neurological and cellular detox practiced for generations. A 2023 study published in the Japanese Journal of Environmental Medicine found that walking barefoot in wet soil for just 20 minutes produced a measurable drop in cortisol levels, a 35% increase in white blood cell activity, and improved heart rate variability. Japanese soil, particularly in mossy forests and rice fields, is rich in negative ions, beneficial microorganisms, and magnetic minerals that interact with the dense network of acupuncture points covering the soles of the feet, points mapped in traditional medicine to the liver, kidneys, and colon. When bare skin meets living earth, the body's bioelectrical field recalibrates. Static charge dissipates. Inflammatory signals quiet. In Shinto purification rituals, barefoot walking through mountain streams or mossy pathways is considered a means of releasing both physical and emotional toxins. Japanese schools encourage children to exercise barefoot on grass, citing measurable improvements in immunity and emotional regulation. Begin with 10 minutes on grass or soil in the early morning. Breathe through the sensation. Some toxins are not chemical. Some are electrical noise. And the earth has been absorbing them for longer than medicine has existed. Natto is the food that most non-Japanese people encounter, smell, and immediately decline. It is sticky, stringy, pungent, and moves like something alive, because it essentially is. Made from soybeans fermented with Bacillus subtilis natto, it contains a rare enzyme called nattokinase that has been studied extensively for its ability to dissolve blood clots, break down excess fibrin, and improve circulation in ways no common food comes close to matching. A 2024 peer-reviewed study from the National Cerebral and Cardiovascular Center in Osaka found that daily consumption of just 50 grams of natto reduced blood viscosity and LDL oxidation levels by over 30% in participants with metabolic syndrome. Natto is also among the richest dietary sources of vitamin K2, the fat-soluble nutrient that activates proteins responsible for pulling calcium out of arteries and kidneys and directing it to bones where it belongs. Japan has among the lowest arterial calcification rates in the developed world, and natto's daily presence in the diet of eastern regions is not considered coincidental by researchers. Nattokinase also stimulates adiponectin, a hormone that improves insulin sensitivity and helps mobilize visceral belly fat, the metabolically dangerous kind that resists exercise and drives chronic inflammation. Japanese families mix it with mustard, raw scallion, and a touch of soy sauce, stirring it vigorously before eating to release additional enzymes. The smell fades. The benefits do not. The thin slivers of pale pink pickled ginger served alongside sushi are almost universally treated as garnish in the West, pushed to the edge of the plate, ignored, or eaten absent-mindedly between rolls. In Japan, gari is none of these things. It is consumed deliberately, before the meal begins, as a metabolic primer and lymphatic trigger rooted in centuries of digestive tradition. Ginger contains gingerols and shogales. Bioactive compounds that reduce inflammation, stimulate thermogenesis, and directly support bile production. A 2023 study from the Tokyo Institute of Integrative Nutrition found that consuming 10 grams of pickled ginger before a meal increased post-meal calorie burn by 14% and improved fat emulsification for up to 3 hours afterward. The traditional Japanese practice of meal sequencing places pickled ginger as the first thing consumed. Not as a palate cleanser after eating, but as a digestive organ activator before the first bite. This prepares the salivary glands, gastric secretions, and bile production, allowing the meal that follows to be processed more cleanly and completely. Stagnant lymph in the face, neck, and underarms, which often manifests as puffiness, acne, or cognitive fog, is also addressed by ginger's natural antimicrobial and circulation-stimulating properties. Make your own with young ginger, rice vinegar, and sea salt. Eat it before the meal. The difference will be felt within minutes. Long before compression garments and waist trainers became wellness products, Japanese tradition had already developed a far more elegant version, the haramaki, a soft cloth belly wrap made from cotton, silk, or wool and worn daily against the skin to warm the abdominal organs and stimulate internal detox. In traditional Japanese medicine, the concept of high internal cold is considered one of the root causes of slow digestion, hormonal disruption, chronic fatigue, and metabolic sluggishness. A 2024 clinical trial from the Kyushu College of Oriental Medicine found that wearing a haramaki for 6 hours daily produced a 12% increase in core abdominal temperature, improved bowel function in 87% of participants, and reduced menstrual pain in women with endometriosis. Warmth in the belly dilates capillaries, enhances vagus nerve activity, and allows the liver to perform its detox processing more efficiently. Traditional haramaki are designed to trap the body's own heat rather than add external heat, creating a gentle internal sauna effect around the organs without overheating the rest of the body. Japanese mothers gift them to daughters after childbirth. Elders wear them through winter. Construction workers wear them for stamina. Creating the conditions for detox is sometimes simply a matter of warmth. When blood sugar crashes in the West, the instinct is to reach for something sweet, sugary, or caffeinated. In Japan, the response to fatigue, sugar collapse, or stress-induced digestive distress is something entirely different, a warm cup of kuzu. Made by dissolving kuzu root starch in cold water and heating it slowly until it thickens into a translucent, pudding-like consistency, kuzuyu is one of the most sophisticated and gentle restorative tonics in the Japanese pharmacopoeia. Kuzu root contains potent isoflavones, particularly purin, which have been shown to stabilize blood sugar, balance estrogen levels, and support the liver's detox enzyme activity. A 2023 study from Shinrin University found that kuzu starch in water improved insulin sensitivity by 27%, reduced PMS symptoms measurably, and activated liver detox enzymes. But its most remarkable quality is neurological. Kuzu calms the nervous system, coats and soothes the intestinal lining, relaxes the vagus nerve, and signals the body into a state of digestive safety. Monks in Kyoto temples drink it after fasting retreats to gently restart the digestive system. In Kanpo medicine, it is prescribed for overwork, burnout, alcohol recovery, and what practitioners describe as heartbreak held in the gut. Add ginger or yuzu for warmth. Sip with a spoon. Within 10 minutes, the stomach quiets, the cravings vanish, and the body remembers how to heal itself from the inside. In the corners of traditional Japanese homes, near the entrance, beside a window, sometimes in a small alcove, there is often a wooden tray holding a bowl of coarse salt, a sprig of dried mugwort, a curled citrus peel, and occasionally an unlit stick of incense. This is not decoration. It is a seasonal detox altar, part of a tradition called Kuzuraden, and its purpose is the maintenance of emotional and energetic hygiene. Salt absorbs electromagnetic stress and has natural antibacterial properties. Mugwort, when dried or burned, releases compounds that calm the amygdala. Citrus peel releases limonene, a terpene shown to lower cortisol and stimulate lymphatic circulation. Sandalwood and green tea incense, when smoldered, improve heart rate variability, reduce airborne pathogens, and lower anxiety markers measurable in saliva. What makes this practice genuinely detoxifying is the daily ritual of tending it, changing the herbs, discarding the salt, lighting a flame. This trains the nervous system to release emotional accumulation before it becomes somatic tension. The body cannot detox fully when the mind is under sustained psychological load. These small altars function as energetic sponges, absorbing what the body carries so that the body does not have to continue carrying it. The daily act of presence at this small natural space, just a breath, just an exchange, softens the jaw, deepens the exhale, and allows the gut to let go. In Japan, particularly during the colder months and at seasonal transitions, there exists a practice called koyo-yaki. The slow burning of dried citrus peel in a shallow ceramic vessel, in a quiet room, with no screens, no conversation, and no agenda other than to sit and breathe the rising smoke for 10 to 15 minutes. The peels are sun-dried until they curl at the edges, then placed over ash and lit until they smolder. A 2024 neurological study found that the volatile compounds released, limonene, pinene, geraniol, lower cortisol, activate alpha brain waves, and reduce markers of neuroinflammation. The olfactory nerve carries these signals directly to the limbic system, the brain's emotional processing center, bypassing the analytical mind entirely. The silent sitting, the closed eyes, the slowed breath together reset the vagus nerve, improve the gut-brain axis, and remove fight-or-flight interference from the body's internal detox systems. When cortisol is elevated, the liver holds its processes in partial suspension. When the nervous system finally quiets, the liver, lymph, and immune system resume their work. Japanese elders burn citrus peels after funerals and seasonal changes specifically to release what the body has been holding. Dry your own orange peel. Let it smolder in a safe bowl. Sit beside it in silence. Some detox arrives on smoke. There is a Japanese thermal therapy called shio makura, the hot salt pillow. And it is one of the most quietly profound detox tools in the traditional health repertoire. A cloth pouch is filled with unrefined sea salt, warmed gently, and pressed against specific areas of the body, the nape of the neck, the lower back, or over the liver on the right side beneath the ribs. A 2023 study from Kyoto University's Thermal Physiology Department found that 20 minutes of targeted salt heat therapy increased microcirculation in treated areas by 24%, significantly reduced inflammatory cytokines including IL-6, and improved nighttime sleep quality by 33% in elderly subjects. Salt is hygroscopic, it draws moisture, and with it waste fluids, metabolic byproducts, and toxins, outward through surrounding tissues. The heat simultaneously relaxes the fascia, the connective tissue network that can lock toxins, trauma, and tension in place, allowing lymph to drain and organs to breathe. Elderly Japanese women are still known to heat a salt pouch after dinner and rest it across the abdomen before sleep, not for warmth alone, but to wake the liver's nighttime enzymes and support morning elimination. Use unrefined sea salt. Heat it gently. Place it over the liver. Breathe. Feel the heat move inward. That movement is detox. In Japan, the practice of rinsing the mouth after meals is not done with commercial mouthwash. It is done with warm green tea, sencha or bancha, brewed lightly and swished slowly around the mouth and under the tongue before being spat out. Green tea is rich in catechins, particularly EGCG, which suppress harmful oral pathogens, disrupt plaque biofilm, and reduce inflammation in the salivary glands. These catechins also cross the blood-brain barrier and support the lymphatic system, the brain's overnight cleaning mechanism. A 2023 pilot study from Fukuoka's Neurobiology Institute found that individuals who rinsed with warm sencha after their evening meal had higher melatonin levels, improved memory recall, and more active dream states, all indicators of increased brain waste clearance. The mouth and tongue are viewed in Japanese medicine as early detox zones, surfaces where systemic toxins surface before being fully expelled. Routine green tea rinsing alkalizes the oral environment, rebuilds beneficial microbiota, and calms the vagus nerve through both temperature and tannin compounds. After your last meal of the day, brew a small cup of warm green tea. Let it cool slightly. Swish. Hold it under the tongue. Spit. Sleep will be different. The water left over from rinsing or boiling rice, milky, slightly viscous, faintly fragrant, is not poured down the drain in Japan. It is collected and used to wash the face. Rice water contains inositol, ferulic acid, gamma-resinol, and a spectrum of B vitamins, compounds that support barrier repair, neutralize oxidative stress, and reduce hyperpigmentation. It is mildly acidic, which allows it to restore the skin's natural pH after exposure to hard water, pollution, or harsh cleansers. A 2023 study from Tokyo Skin Science Center found that twice-daily rice water rinses produced a 22% reduction in transepidermal water loss, a 15% improvement in skin elasticity, and visibly reduced pore size within 4 weeks. But the link to detox is more than cosmetic. The skin is the body's largest elimination organ. When it is congested or depleted, it cannot excrete toxins efficiently through sweat or sebum. Rice water nourishes and unclogs the microchannels through which lymph drains and toxins exit. Rinse your rice. Keep the water. Let it sit for 15 minutes. Apply with clean hands or a soft cloth. Do not rinse off. The softness is immediate. The clarity comes with time. In Japan, brushing the hair before bed is not considered a grooming routine. It is a neurological detox practice with deep roots in geisha culture, monastic tradition, and the daily habits of older generations. Called kami watoku, combing the spirit, it involves slow, rhythmic strokes with a natural bristle brush or wooden comb, moving from forehead to nape, from temples to crown, with deliberate breath on every pass. The scalp is densely networked with nerve endings, acupuncture meridians, and lymphatic channels mapped in traditional medicine to the liver, brain, and kidneys. Stimulating this zone before sleep activates the lymphatic system, supports cerebrospinal fluid circulation, and primes the body for deep overnight detoxification. A 2024 study from the NRA Institute of Sleep Medicine found that 5 minutes of scalp stimulation before bed improved REM sleep quality, lowered heart rate measurably, and increased morning melatonin levels. The bladder and gallbladder meridians, two of the body's primary detox channels, run along the sides of the head. Brushing slowly in those lines is a direct stimulus to those organs. 100 strokes. Slow exhales. Mind cleared. Shoulders dropped. Begin there. What is described here will sound strange until the physiology behind it is explained, and then it will seem obvious. In Japan, a practice rooted in both Shingon Buddhism and Kampo medicine involves the deliberate chanting of extended vowel sounds, a, u, e, o. Before sleep, not as religious recitation but as a form of organ-specific vibrational detox. Each vowel resonates with a specific organ and the emotional pattern stored within it. Chanting these sounds slowly, with full breath and sustained vibration, physically stimulates the vagus nerve and moves stagnant energy through tissues where tension accumulates. A 2023 study from the Osaka Institute for Neurocardiology found that 10 minutes of daily pre-sleep vowel chanting significantly reduced nocturnal cortisol levels, improved gut motility, and increased secretory IgA, the mucosal immune protein lining the gut and lungs. That is measurable, physiological detox produced entirely by the human voice. Japanese traditional healers prescribe this practice for emotional eating, chronic bloating, insomnia, and sluggish digestion. Conditions understood to share a common origin in held emotion that has settled into the body and refuses to move. Sit. Inhale. Exhale with a long, open sound. Let it come from the organ. The body knows which one needs it. In Japan, sitting on the floor after a meal is not a posture of poverty or minimalism. It is a metabolic strategy. The Seiza position, kneeling with legs folded beneath the thighs, sitting back on the heels with the spine upright. Places gentle, consistent pressure on the lower abdomen, which promotes peristalsis, the muscular wave action that moves food through the intestines. It simultaneously stimulates lymph nodes in the groin and thighs, accelerating the transport of dietary fats into detox pathways. A 2023 study from the Kyushu Institute of Physical Therapy found that elderly participants who sat in Seiza for just 10 minutes after lunch had a 21% increase in lipase enzyme activity, improved stool frequency, and reduced triglyceride levels over 3 weeks. Seiza also decompresses the stomach and pancreas, allowing digestive secretions to flow unobstructed, improves pelvic circulation, lowers heart rate, and reliably shifts the body into parasympathetic mode. While the West reaches for antacids and enzyme supplements after meals, Japan adjusts the body's geometry and allows gravity and pressure to perform the same function without cost or complication. 5 to 10 minutes on a soft cushion. Hands on thighs. Breath in the belly. Digestion engaged. Detox initiated. The Japanese instinct during a rainstorm is not to shut every window and wait for it to pass. In older homes, rural villages, and among people raised with traditional sensibilities, a rainstorm is a signal to open the windows slightly and breathe deeply. When falling raindrops strike surfaces, they generate a surge of negatively charged ions that bind to airborne pollutants, dust particles, mold spores, and the positive ion excess created by electronics and synthetic materials. A 2023 air quality study found that indoor negative ion counts increased by 400% within 10 minutes of window exposure during rainfall, with measurable reductions in volatile organic compounds and airborne inflammatory particulate matter. Breathing this recalibrated air resets the pineal gland, improves serotonin regulation, and stimulates parasympathetic nerve tone. In Japan, rainy days carry no cultural stigma of gloom. They are cleansing days. Children are taught to breathe rain air. Elderly people nap with windows cracked during light showers. Temple monks walk barefoot through rain-soaked garden paths as a deliberate purification practice. During the next rainfall, open a window 2 or 3 inches. Sit nearby for 10 to 15 minutes. Breathe through the nose, slowly. The stillness and clarity that arrive are not metaphorical. They are ionic, biochemical, and real. There is a Japanese journaling practice called Zanshin Nikki. The Unfinished Thoughts Journal, that is not about productivity, gratitude tracking, or manifestation. It is about writing the conversations you never had, the words you swallowed, the things you needed to say and didn't. Unprocessed emotion generates somatic tension, particularly in the gut, diaphragm, and facial network. The liver, stomach, and intestines become reactive and sluggish in the presence of sustained psychological load. A 2023 psychoimmunology study from Hokkaido University found that participants who practiced Zanshin journaling 3 times per week demonstrated improved gut transit time, lower salivary cortisol, and increased bile secretion. The writing is not meant to resolve anything. The act of giving trapped words a place to exist outside the body is enough. Letters written and never sent. Truth spoken to an empty page. The brain registers a form of resolution even in the absence of external response, and this is sufficient to quiet the nervous system and allow the digestive system to resume its work. Write one conversation tonight that is still living in your chest. Let it be ugly. Let it be incomplete. Close the notebook. The detox it initiates is not metaphorical. It is biochemical, measurable, and begins the moment the pen lifts from the page. In Okinawa, in rural Honshu, and increasingly on urban rooftops across Japan, gardening is practiced as a form of embodied detox rather than a hobby or domestic chore. Called Tabata, hand healing, it is done barefoot and with bare hands by design, because the exchange between human skin and living soil is understood as something the body requires. Soil in Japan is rich in actinobacteria, Bacillus subtilis, and Mycobacterium vaccae. Beneficial microorganisms that stimulate serotonin production, support microbiome diversity, and train the immune system to regulate itself more accurately. A 2023 study from the University of Tokyo's Department of Psychoneuroimmunology found that elderly participants who gardened daily with ungloved hands showed lower inflammatory cytokine levels, greater microbiome resilience, and reduced expression of genes associated with metabolic dysfunction. The act of touching soil, pulling weeds, planting while breathing petrichor lowers cortisol, blood pressure, and insulin resistance. Centenarians in Okinawa still tend their own gardens. They do not outsource this. They move through it slowly, daily, and with bare hands, because they understand that the body evolved in contact with the earth, and that something essential comes back online when that contact is restored. Japanese sound healing does not involve playlists or music. It involves single-frequency instruments, bronze singing bowls, bamboo flutes, temple bells, played not to entertain or soothe but to vibrate. The practice is called otoyaku, sound bathing, and it is used in temples, traditional wellness facilities, and private homes to physically shift the body's internal environment through resonance. A 2024 study at Ritsumeikan University's Sound Neuroscience Laboratory found that exposure to tonal frequencies of 432 Hz and 528 Hz for 20 minutes daily produced measurably lower beta brain wave dominance, improved sleep stage cycling, and increased cerebrospinal fluid circulation. This means the lymphatic system, which flushes neurotoxic waste from the brain, works faster. Beyond the brain, sustained tonal resonance also moves fascia, the connective tissue network that becomes rigid under chronic stress and traps lymph, metabolic waste, and tension in place. When fascia is immobilized, the lymphatic system cannot flow through it. When lymph stagnates, toxins remain in tissue. Vibration restores flow without force, without chemicals, without even contact. Lie on your back. Play a pure tone at low volume. Close your eyes. Breathe as though underwater. Feel the tremors where they arrive. That is detox through physics. In countryside villages and mountain temples across Japan, as the sun approaches the horizon each evening, bundles of dried rice straw are lit and left to smolder gently in the open air. This practice predates Shinto shrines and continues in rural communities today not as pest control, but as a biological signal to the body that night has arrived and internal cleansing should begin. Rice straw smoke releases volatile botanical compounds that enter the body through the olfactory nerve and travel toward the pineal gland. A 2023 circadian medicine study found that this smoke ritual increased melatonin production, improved the expression of autophagy-related genes, and elevated the activity of phase 2 liver detox enzymes by over 22%. The smoldering smoke communicates to every organ, darkness has come, begin the night cycle. The flickering firelight is equally important, it reduces blue light stimulation of the retina, allowing melatonin to rise naturally. Villagers who practice this nightly report deeper sleep, clearer skin in the morning, and improved digestive elimination. In a modern context, light a beeswax candle at dusk. Burn dried herbs or clean natural incense. Sit without screens. Detox is governed by timing. Japan mastered the art of telling the liver when to work. In Japan, among elders, monks, and those who have maintained traditional domestic practices, many people sleep not on thick mattresses but on firm futons laid directly on tatami floors. This is not poverty. It is postural medicine. A soft, overly cushioned mattress causes the spine to sink, the abdomen to compress, and the internal organs to rest in anatomically unintended positions. A 2023 sleep study from Tokyo Metropolitan Geriatrics Institute found that participants who transitioned from soft beds to firm tatami-style sleeping surfaces demonstrated faster lymphatic circulation, improved overnight lymphatic clearance, better morning blood pressure regulation, and shorter colon transit time, meaning more efficient waste elimination each morning. Sleeping on a firm surface allows the body's own weight to create micropumping pressure on the lymphatic system, particularly around the thoracic duct and inguinal nodes. It also allows the fascia to decompress naturally and lets the organs settle into their structural positions during the hours of deepest repair and filtration. Traditional futons are rolled up and aired out each morning. Not merely to save space, but to release accumulated moisture, prevent mold, and ensure the sleeping surface remains biologically clean. To begin, spend 20 minutes lying on the floor with a rolled towel beneath your knees and another beneath your neck. Breathe. Let the spine extend. Let gravity do what the mattress has been absorbing. The habit that ties everything together is also the quietest and the oldest. In Japan, in traditional farm households, spiritual communities, and temple villages, the day begins before the sun rises. Not with alarm anxiety or a scroll through messages, but with deliberate stillness, facing east, watching the horizon, and waiting for the first light before speaking or eating. This practice, Hino de Meri, sunrise presence, is endocrinological at its core. The pineal gland, which regulates melatonin, serotonin, dopamine, and the entire circadian cascade, is directly triggered by the light wavelength ratio that exists only at dawn. A 2024 endocrinology study from Tohoku University found that participants who received natural sunlight within 30 minutes of waking produced 70% more serotonin, had lower post-meal insulin spikes, and exhibited a significant increase in morning digestive enzyme activity. The practice communicates to every system in the body, day has begun, begin cleaning. In traditional Japanese belief, eating before the liver has completed its nightly detox cycle is a form of disruption, not nourishment. Breakfast, when it comes, is light and warm and never rushed. The silence before it is calibration. The absence of noise before the first meal is the nervous system's preparation for everything that follows. No phone. No food. No sound. Just east-facing light and breath, and a body that finally knows what time it is. That is where the detox begins. Not in the supplement, not in the fast, not in the protocol. In the stillness before the sun arrives.